Well, hey there, gardening friends. This is day 18 of our seed starting adventure. Just got done with some work, running some finance reports and stuff like that for my boss. All is well. Now I'm enjoying my unsweet iced tea and checking out my plants. So let's take a look here, spin you around. So that's looking pretty good. Let's zoom in just a little bit. Everything's gotten a little bit bigger. Starting to fill things out. I think what we will... Yeah, I know. I would have been here sooner. I had intended on being here sooner, but crap. Timer just went off on my lights. It must be late. That's hilarious. There we go. Let's turn that back on. That's hilarious. Anyway, yeah, I would have been earlier, but we're getting ready to apply for that payroll protection program or whatever, and our payroll processing company, they've just been scrambling and made some modifications to our report we had prepped and we were going to run with, and they ended up switching things up. And so my boss asked me to basically recast or audit a year's worth of payroll. And that took a little while, trying to compare some payroll reports we had with this new report they generated to make sure they match, because we're getting ready to submit this information to the bank. So anyway, he asked me to jump, and it's one of those things where you kind of say, well, how high? And so just finished that up. And then the dog. So we got this miniature dachshund, and she's pretty bright. She knows like the sounds of the kitchen and the house and all of that. And she must have been feeling neglected tonight. And she'll do this when she's upset, because we didn't give her... Normally I give her some table scraps or whatever. But we ended up having, I think, some homemade pizza or whatever, and didn't have anything like readily available that I was going to give her. And then they had rearranged downstairs, so a lot of the kids were downstairs, and she was just out of sorts. And so she ended up peeing on the couch, which just really... I was like, really, dog? And car in time, ended up throwing her outside for a bit, let her think about that. So anyway, the kids were gracious enough. They cleaned the couch, got that taken care of real quick before it soaked in and all that. But anyway, just one of those things. So got that situated, got my work done and stuff. So now I'm downstairs relaxing, taking a look at my plants. Lettuce is looking good. I think it's time to water it. So I got my gallon jug, and let's flip things around as we're going to water some plants tonight. Yeah. Oh, shoot. Now I got this little solo cup rigged up because I haven't found any PVC, though we were cleaning out the little crawl space. And I found a piece. I just haven't had a chance to cut it yet, but we're going to fill that cup up. And that's just going to drain down. Let's move in for a little closer view of that. This is just a little dry, it's not too bad. Now I think these are 12-ounce cups, so that's 24 ounces roughly. Let's put some more in it. That's probably enough. All right, it's time for the big reveal. Let's see if we got any more peppers I've decided to sprout. I hope we do. We'll get the heat mat cranked up to 90 degrees. It's reading 90.1 right now. Let's pull one of the ones on the bottom that I know has been getting some heated sweet chocolate. Alright, now there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7. And what they do first, they put the little taproot down first. Once it latches on something, that seed cracks open and the leaves sprout. So don't want to break that root. You want to be careful with that. But that's encouraging. That means this is actually working. And I didn't cook my plants or my seeds or suffocate them or whatever. But compared to lettuce, I mean, we did that. I put those in the baggies this past weekend, right? And it's Thursday. So we're looking at 4 or 5 days and finally getting some sprouts of the peppers, whereas a lettuce seed and the cold weather stuff that has started, you know, that stuff was sprouted in like 3 days. Now, if we wouldn't have done the bags, it could be up to like 7 days before we would really see anything happening. So it used to take a long time. The Supersonics, I'm going to start them probably next week. That would give them 6 weeks. Yeah, about 6 weeks till like the middle of or late May then, because we're what, first week of April. So yeah, if I start them next week, that'd be about 6 weeks. I can start them earlier if you want. Depends how big you want them. They'll be, I would say, probably in 6 weeks' time, about yay to about 8 inches. Yeah, probably about 8 inches tall. But if you want me to start a batch, I could even start some this weekend. If you like planting yours earlier, it seems like at least out at Dad's house, I can't. Okay. So start them next weekend then. I'll start unless you want me to start them this weekend. I'll start them next weekend. And that should time it about right. When we first moved over here, I tried, I don't know, it took me a little bit to get the timing because it seemed like I could do things a little earlier where I was at, which was kind of ironic because I lived in northern Indiana. But I found here that I can't plant much earlier than Memorial Day weekend. You know, tried Mother's Day weekend. Did that, I think, maybe 2 years, and it wasn't good. We ended up getting like a late frost around Memorial. Well, right before, around that time. You know, and then what was it? 2 years ago was when we had that kind of real bad storm, freak storm that tore up the patch and buried everything in mud. I was so mad. Because I had spent a lot of time. We had spent a lot of time getting that ready and planting it, planting it out, and it was all just waylaid. So last year we waited. I mean, I planted them probably as late as I've done, and it did really well. For the most part. Everything I did different last year was I didn't prune near as much. Yeah, I remember we were chatting about it. Oh, shoot. It's pretty nasty. It took out some trees and all kinds of stuff over at Dad's house. It was messed up. But, so anyway, I don't know. Last year I ended up, I'd done some pruning years before and whatnot and had success, but the key difference was that I had shade for part of the day and whatnot, and so I could get away with pruning where the plants I didn't need as much foliage to protect the fruits and stuff, but being in a field setting, I found that I can do some pruning initially at the bottom and maybe do some selective pruning, but really try to keep it thicker and not prune a whole lot in a field setting because it's just out there and the sun's beating down on it all day long and there's no trees to give it any kind of break. And so anyway, it worked well last year. We'll see what happens this year with that, whether we go with the same trellis or end up moving things around. I'm inclined to leave it since it's already set up, and then see what happens with it. But I may try to get the other grow box going this weekend. Try to do some more lettuce and maybe, like right now I've got these rows planted about 4 inches apart. Maybe do it a little bit closer or maybe do it this way and then do the mint lighter. Like do this one without mint lighter mineral mix, or without giving it the weekly feed, and then do the other one with the weekly feed and just see what happens. My guess is that the ones that I do with the weekly feed will probably catch up in growth to this box. We'll kind of see how that turns out. I need to get some fertilizer before they start closing other things. I don't know if you listen to the governor's address today, but sounds like he wants grocery stores to somehow limit how many people are in the store, and police that. So I don't know if they're going to have like a security guard or how they're going to do that, but they're going to try to enforce this like social distancing stuff. Sounded like organized sports were canceled, so I don't know. I'm guessing that means there's not going to be baseball this year for my son, which that kind of stinks. He was looking forward to that, but I don't foresee them being able to do that if they're wanting to be serious about all this stuff, and they're talking, May. Yeah. So it's already starting to hit the stores and all that, so I don't know. I guess what we're going to end up doing is maybe using the shopping services a little bit more, like Instacart or the Kroger pickup, where you can try to schedule it and go pick it up. That, or go at like a off hours where nobody likes to go, like 9 o'clock at night, if they have hours in. If everything's on reduced hours, it's going to be hard to go on off hours. Unfortunately, we're not in a position where it's like panic and we're out of everything. We got stuff, but the key to staying ahead of it is to make sure that when you do go out and shop, you get a little extra of this or extra of that, so that you've got a little bit of a buffer, and it's not so critical to get to the store like every week, which I think we've been doing okay so far on that. I don't know. Then there was something else where I guess anyone coming into Ohio That's funny. Yeah, I asked my wife the other night. I was like, "We okay on TP?" And she's like, "Yeah, I got some extra packs." And so I was like, "Okay, whatever." We may try to go to the store Saturday. At some point, we'll kind of see how busy it is. We went last Saturday around 9 o'clock in the morning, and it wasn't bad at all. I think we hit it at a good time. Most people were still kind of sleeping in or whatever. Neighborhood's been pretty quiet too. What? That's crazy, man. Yeah, another thing that's happening, I guess, with, now we're going in, what, 4 weeks of kind of this new normal and stuff. It's kind of been interesting, like with raiding the hoarders. That's kind of interesting with churches and stuff like that. My wife was talking to a good friend the other night, and I guess up in Toledo, it's a older church or whatever, they end up just shutting down. Like they're not going to reopen. And think about that. Like there's a lot of communities of faith around here that are like older folks, whatnot, that maybe aren't as tech savvy or more old school or whatnot, that had kind of smaller gatherings anyway, and what that's doing to people, whether those places are going to open back up or not. It's going to be it's going to be different. We come out, assuming we come out on the other side of this, things are just it's going to look different, it's going to be different. The country's going to be in a lot more debt. I mean, I think there was a stat today. Yeah, we're trying, we're doing our part too. That was another interesting thing too. They kind of talking through whether or not they were going to try to do any kind of communion or Easter services, like how they're going to facilitate stuff. And they ended up deciding that they are going to do, live stream communion and all that. And so they spent time this week kind of reviewing all of that and talking about like what it means. And because I guess there's segments again that are totally against it, and that are more tied to a building and stuff like that. Like, well, because we can't get together and because of all this, we're not going to do any of that. Which that's fine. I mean, people can, if that's how they feel convicted. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how things play out. Did talk to my dad today. He's doing pretty good. I'm trying to make the most of it. I think I'm gonna try to get out there this weekend to spend time with him. It's supposed to be nice. Haven't gotten to do a whole lot this week. I was hoping to get out there this week. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, don't think that they're... See if I still got power. This is weird. Yeah, I'm still live. Is it muting me? Can you hear me, Tom? My phone's acting up. There's a drop down that's got the speaker, and it's got a line through it like I'm muted. I was thinking maybe YouTube didn't like us talking about church and religion. There's trigger words, right? I don't know what all the trigger words are. I know, like you were talking about guns and stuff like that. There's certain things you can't do. And I've been real careful here lately, like with the kids. You've noticed at least the last 18 days, they've not been in most of the videos a whole lot at all, because of how ignorant the algorithm is and all that, or how they can flag stuff if they deem it inappropriate. So I've been kind of careful with having the kids in when I'm chatting or chatting and stuff like that. But they are going to be involved in helping me this weekend. I think getting all this stuff potted up, because if giving it another day under the mat, if all these pepper seeds sprout, I'm gonna have to get busy getting those things in pots, getting them situated. What's the? It's a phenomenon that's happened to a couple of live streamers. Maybe did it happen to you once, or it happened to um, where the police gets called on you or whatever while you're streaming? What's that called? I was watching one a while back, and he actually had video of that happening, where the cops came to the door, and because yeah, getting raided. Cops came to his door because someone called in, like saying they had, hurt their family or whatever the 911 call was. It's something pretty traumatic. So the cops came expecting to encounter an armed suspect in the home or whatever. So, and he's in basically his underwear and stuff like that. Yeah, I know you've been raided. Oh, shoot. Hopefully you're past all that now, though. I know that took a while, and for a while, like you were telling me, you apply for a job or something, and they would cross-reference your name and stuff like that. Oh my goodness. That's too funny. I mean, it's funny now. It probably wasn't funny then. Oh, shoot. Well, we'll get some stuff going this weekend. I should probably jump off here and spend a little time with the kids before. Actually, they probably either heading to bed or already in bed. But I should probably head upstairs and catch some time with them here real quick. Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, while we're down here though, real quick, let's check the worm bin. Looks a little dry. Some good worm poo in there though. They must be down there. They're all over the place. They're still munching on the coffee grounds. And there's still a ton of these little worm eggs. I think what I'll do is water them real quick. Right enough. All right, well, hey, man, well, maybe I'll catch you tomorrow. I'm trying to keep up with it, maybe do at least 30 days in a row, and then we'll kind of see where we're at. I'm getting close to the 4,000 hours. I'm at like 3,100 now, so I'm getting closer. Maybe another 6 to 8 months. We'll see. So, all right, man. Well, hey, we'll catch you later.